What's up? This is Nick, head coach of the Cerulean City Psyducks, commentating my match with Jacob for week 13. So, he's undefeated. I am quite defeated, so, expectations. But he leads with Dr. Drizzle, and I lead with my Pinkle Grand Bull, not Green Bull. That's not it. So, he switches out, which kind of makes sense. I don't know. Yeah, I guess he was probably expecting an Earthquake to come out, but I was like, psh, I'm not that stupid. I know you have that Weezing who loves to eat up those Earthquakes. So he gets the Will-O-Wisp off, which was unfortunate, but this Granbull was really not built to do much attacking. It didn't even have Earthquake, it had Play Rough as its only attack. And then I used Roar, which this was part of and like perfectly fed into a plan that I had to try and kill Weezing. Because I needed him to bring that Tapu Lele, because I had no Pokemon that could really learn any good Psychic moves. So to get that I needed to get that Tapu Lele out so I could get Psychic Terrain set up, so that I could use Nature Power that was on my Tangrowth, which then turns into Psychic and gets a boost from the Psychic Terrain, which would have been able to kill Weezing. But that doesn't end up really mattering because it just doesn't happen. It was a cool plan. Jacob complimented me on it when I told him about it, but it didn't happen. And this stupid moment. So Trace, he gets Speed Boost on his Porygon 2. It's pretty stupid. That I like. It's smart on his plan to just pick up my really good ability, but it's stupid. And I made a good switch there. I was like, he's probably just gonna go for the kill. So, might as well switch out and ate up that Thunderbolt. So I was happy about that prediction. I felt like that was a bit lazy on Jacob's part. He should have known that I still had that ground type packing in the back. But then Swampert goes Mega, and I avoid the Toxic. This has been a bad couple weeks for Toxic, and I get my Stealth Rocks up, which weren't absolutely necessary, but definitely helped out my team by getting some damage out. And his Porygon 2 gets a Speed Boost, one of many, and then he Toxics again, which this one does hit, which I wasn't too concerned, because first of all, I mean, at least it's not a burn, so I don't have to worry about lowered attack, which means I can bust out these waterfalls and do so much damage. Which, I mean, for as defensive as Porygon 2 is, that's decent damage, so probably rocking an Eviolite, plus I'm assuming a physical defense investment. So about a quarter of his health isn't terrible, and he went for another Toxic there. I'm assuming he thought I was going to switch out, but my goal at this point was pretty much just try and get as much damage on that Cyberduck as possible, because I knew that thing was going to be pretty tough to take down without it doling some damage back. So then he actually starts attacking now, and he gets a Shadow Ball out, which really doesn't do much because Swampert's pretty defensive. I just keep hammering him with those waterfalls. And unfortunately, now that he's like super fast relative to me, he is going to be able to recover next turn way before I can do any more damage to him. So I believe, yeah, I switch out because I'm like, I know he's going to recover because he has to. So I'm like, alright, let's try and neuter this thing. So he does recover, which was 100% predicted because, like I said, I knew he was going to have to, because otherwise, if he didn't, he was going to die and he couldn't kill me. So he just had to do it. So it's Speed Boost again, but I use Fake Out because good old Fake Out. It did like 5 damage or something, but whatever. A little bit of chip damage I like to do. And this fucking bullshit right here happens. So Thunderbolt goes out, Paralysis, and then fully paralyzed. There is a 16.5% chance of that happening, because the 15% chance of that happening. So 30% chance of the paralysis plus 50% chance of the fully paralyzed, which, yeah, it was a bunch of horseshit. So I hit him with the parting shot, which I was like, okay, I just need to weaken him because I really need to get him out of here so I can try and whittle away some of these other Pokemon. So I send him Bird Person, which this week he was not the offensive set that I would usually run with him. This was actually a support Hawlucha. So he goes and Toxics me, which, whatever. Hawlucha he's usually only stays out for a couple, like 1 or 2 hits at most anyways. So the poison wasn't really a thing. And I tried a Toxic, and he avoids it. So two 90% attack misses in this one battle, which is pretty ridiculous. So that's kind of a precursor to what's happening in this battle. So he switches out, and I knew he was going to, because he wouldn't want to get Toxic Poison on that Pokemon, because it's really dangerous on a staller like that. So I set up my Tailwind. So I'm like, okay, I'm not bringing the Rain this week, so let's just set up a Tailwind, get me that +2 speed for everybody on my team, which is a super good thing to have. So, I think I do go, I go for Fling, just to flinch him. It does, like, no damage because it's resisted, but it does flinch it. I really don't know why I did that. It was pretty much a waste, because I didn't need the speed boost from Unburdened, because I was already so much faster than him. I think it was just because the one attack I have really... Oh, right, I wanted to get maximum damage out of Acrobatics. Which, I mean, it does okay damage, but it's not much. And this Clear Smog really doesn't do that much damage. I'm assuming he was thinking I was going to go for a Swords Dance set, but he should have known at that point that I only had one other move that was an attacking move, so maybe he was just going for maximum damage he could do. And right now I'm like, I don't feel like losing Bird Person just yet. He still has some support left to him, so I'm like, okay, here's someone who can come in and take Clear Smog, and it's really not going to do much. So it comes out, and this does 12 damage. So pretty much nothing. So now... I made all those really smart plans to try and kill his Weezing, so like, oh yeah, gotta have a way to kill it. And I hit it with some damage. I'm like, okay, well, the Swampert can't kill it, but if I can bring out my Sweeper later, if he's at half health. Oh wait, he uses Memento, which is a smart move. He told me later it's one of those things where it gives him a perfect setup to bring anybody in, because he's at -2s on attack, special attack, and physical attack, so it makes it so pretty much anybody who gets hit with that is not really going to do that much damage. So now he brings out his Cloyster, which takes heavy damage from those Stealth Rocks, and it does its Shell Smash, so +2 to its attack, special attack, and speed, but drop 1 to each defense, so it's pretty significant stat changes right there. And I hit him in with Earthquake. With this Earthquake actually does very nice damage, even at a -2. So if I would have been a luckier man, I would have critted on that and would have killed it and never would have had to worry about the rest of his battle. But then he goes out, busts out the Icicle Spear, so Skill Link plus those, yeah, it does a lot of damage. It pretty much kills everything. So at this point, I send out Duke Silver because I'm like, okay, let's try and do bit of chip damage. So I go for the Fake Out, and I'm fully paralyzed. So up to this point, I'm just constantly getting shit on by bad luck. So a missed Toxic, a paralyzed, and then fully paralyzed, and then another fully paralyzed. It was looking pretty rough. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I literally have one option left to turn this battle around. So I bring out my Street Shark, the Sharpedo, and I go for the Protect, which, shame on Jacob, he was kind of lazy this match, because if he's watched any of my battles, he should know every single time that Sharpedo comes out, it does Protect first turn to get that speed boost. And at this point, he also should have been smart again, because I needed a +2 speed. With his +2 speed on his Cloyster, he literally was faster than everything on my team, so I had to get that +2. So that 30% or 33% chance of that double Protect was significant. And like I said, lazy on Jacob's part for not realizing I literally had to do that. There's no way that I could have won without doing that. So he should have gone for another Shell Smash, and it would have all been over. But he did not. And then he traces my speed boost again, which is annoying, but it happens. And I hit him with a Crunch, because now it's time. I had my Sweeper, but I didn't quite get enough damage out on everybody, which was unfortunate, because what I wanted to do was get as much damage out on his team as possible and then bring in Sharpedo to clean up. So that crit right there does help kill me, so let me kill Cyberduck, which I think that was it mattered a little bit. I think it may have killed him either way, but still, that crit just guaranteed that that thing couldn't stop me. And then here was a real chancy thing right here, because it takes some Stealth Rocks damage, which is about, what, 1/8 of its health? And I was looking at the damage calcs during this, and like, I just gotta go for it. So I go for the Crunch, and brings it all the way down to a really low amount of HP, and then it's just going to turn around and energy ball me. So this is pretty much the end of the battle. I know I could have... I looked at it later and I was like, well, I could have sacrificed Tangrowth. I just had him die. Then bring in Bird Person, get a little bit of damage off on something, and then Sharpedo comes back out and he could probably finish the sweep, but in the moment I was just hoping to get a high damage roll, because if I did get a maximum damage roll, it should have finished off that Tapu Lele, but it didn't happen. Right here I just go for the acrobatics because I'm like, well, whatever. Let's get as much damage out as we can, maybe pick up a KO. And I do survive with 1 HP. 1 HP after that poison takes me. So I go for another acrobatics. I'm hoping, you know what, maybe I'll get another KO. Nope, does the same amount of damage. Rough Skin takes me out. And that is the end of the Bird Person. And Jacob thought ahead on this one, and he went for Swords Dance instead of an attack, which is very smart on his part. So that Swords Dance goes up, he's now at a +2. And then I send in the last one, Cousin It, my Tangrowth. And this was still not a terrible situation for me, even at +2. This is about the only attack that he could throw out that would have killed me. So he did make the right move on this last play, because this killed me. It was like 140% damage, but only because of the fact that it is a Z. If he had just used a regular Dragon Claw, I think Tangrowth would have survived it, and then would have been able to hit back with a Giga Drain, since he was specially defensive or specially attacking built. So he would have probably been able to pick up that KO against Garchomp. Probably wouldn't have survived much longer, but still, it was a good match. There was a lot of hacks at the beginning that really made the whole battle very concerning for both of us, because luck was very much not in my favor, but then that double protect really almost turned the tides. It scared out his sweep setup with Cloyster, but it was not enough to end me. So it was a tough battle. I did lose pretty significantly, but it was a good match. Went about as good as I could have hoped for against the undefeated Jacob. But next week is week 14. I battle Brendan, Cinnabar Island Cyndaquils, my dude, and look out for that one, because it's gonna be a weird one, because at this point I have no shot at the playoffs. So I'm just gonna do whatever I feel like, and I know Brendan still has a chance. I think he's one of 3 people who are still in limbo for their playoff spots, but that should be a good one. So tune in next week. Adios.